When you have your girls, you're never alone. You get together for coffee, maybe to work out, or just to laugh. We created Hey Girl, just for you. Can't wait for you to join us.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Hey Girl. I'm your girl Kim with an E, and this is episode 86. If you're joining us for the first time, I want to let you know that Hey Girl is a safe space where you can share your experiences and be affirmed. Let's face it, life can be complex and sometimes overwhelming. That's why we believe in the power of conversation, because knowing you're not alone is what will help you get through. So come on in, guys. Say hello in the comments and let me know you're here. How is everyone today? Man, it is almost Christmas. I cannot believe it. Are you guys ready? Who's ready for Christmas? Tell me in the comments if you've finished your shopping, if you are a last minute person, or if you are one of those overachievers who has wrapped all the gifts and have them just under the tree, ready and waiting for Christmas to come. We are in the home stretch, y'all. 7 days, literally 1 week till Christmas. I feel like I blinked and this year was over. I blinked and it's Christmas time. It just happened way too fast. So I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you are in the holiday spirit. Tell me that you're here. Say hello. Hey, Lisa, I see you there. Good to see you. And Kendra Phillip, hey, girl, hey. So not ready, but it's coming truly last minute this year. I know. Listen, that is my whole story. I feel like every year, though, honestly, I'm a little under the gun. I don't know, because I get busy with, Lisa says she's not ready. You get busy with life and work and all the things, and then this is me, this is my husband and I, babe, what are we gonna get for so and so? I don't know, let's talk about it. And you know what that means? Like a day or two or three will pass, and it's like, babe, what did we say we're gonna get for so and so? He's like, no, we need to sit down. We need to sit down and write it out. And we're still doing that. It's 7 days away, and we haven't sat down and actually gotten serious about the conversation. So yeah, it's this week is the week to get it done. We're going to get it done. As you may know, I am doing a 12-day Christmas countdown. You would think I would be like on top of things since I'm doing the 12-day countdown. But the idea with the countdown is that we get caught up with Christmas and gifts and giving and parties, and we easily can lose sight of what the season is about. And I know that there are actually many who struggle during the Christmas season because they've suffered loss, and maybe it brings up memories, painful memories. And this is a season where you're either overwhelmed with joy or overwhelmed with pain, or maybe there's a mixture. And so I started thinking the other day about the fact that we're celebrating Christ coming as a babe, right? And one of the names of Jesus is Emmanuel, which means God with us. And I thought, well, how do we know that God is with us, right? He's not a little baby in the manger in front of us today. He's not walking amongst us in the physical flesh. But yet, I believe he does show up for us through those that we love, through the people that we encounter every day. And so the challenge over the past these 12 days of Christmas countdown is for us to look for him. A lot of times we may not recognize that he is with us because he is in the warm handshake of a friend, the hug of a family member, the kindness of a stranger. And so each day we're thinking about the different ways that God may show up for us, through our friends, through our family, grandparents, aunts, uncles, mom. We're on day 7. So today we're thinking about how God may show up through our dads. And so that graphic is out there. A father is neither an anchor, I can't see, an anchor to hold us back or a sail to take us there, but a guiding light whose love shows us the way. I love that quote. I thought it was very appropriate. So tell me in the comments if your father is still living, if how has he shown up for you in your life personally? Has he been a light that has guided your way? And then if your father is not living, mine isn't. I have a stepdad, thankfully, but my birth father is no longer living. But you may have a father figure in your life who leads you who guides you, who steps in and is that father to you. So share in the comments. And if not, yesterday was moms. Before that, we talked about aunts and uncles. So any family member that you can think of who has shown up, has really shown God to you, do share in the comments, because that is what Christmas is about, right? It shouldn't be just about gift giving and buying, but it is all about celebrating the God who came to save. All right, so Lisa, Kendra, you guys put your comments in there, and anyone else who's joining us today, make sure you let me know that you are here, say hello, and tell me how your Christmas preparation is going. All right, well, we have a great show in store for you today. Of course, all month, our focus is on marriage. And I hope you've been enjoying the conversations that we've had thus far. Last week, of course, we were talking to Derek and Sonia McCullum, who have a unique experience as a married couple who are both also in marriage ministry. They are social workers, and they have had a lot of experience in counseling married couples. If you missed that episode, you can go back and see it. It was a great conversation last week. Lovely couple, lots of good insights that came out of that conversation. And of course, I've been talking a lot about, I kicked off the month actually with one of my favorite marriage books, which is by Shaunti Feldhahn. I mentioned that it's a really good book, particularly for us ladies. It's called For Women Only. And Kendra says, my daddy is a true rock in my life. He has taught me how to pray. Oh, yes. Very, very good. I know he has. He's a powerful prayer and awesome, awesome leader. Yeah, good stuff. So the book by Shaunti Feldhahn is called For Women Only. And I love that she is sharing with us sharing with women insights into the way the mind of men typically works. And of course, she surveyed hundreds of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, maybe thousands of men and got her data. But there's always an exception to the rule. But I feel like what we've been talking about lately, we can probably recognize in the men that we have in our lives. And maybe, hopefully, the insights that she's given helps us to see what our husbands do and how they operate in a different light. And so I want to just run through the points that she has brought out already. One of them being that men need respect. And that's a very common phrase and perhaps one that we understand. We're going to go to the misunderstandings about the common misunderstanding slide. Thank you. So men need respect, but then it's in the same way that women need love. And so the insight that she shares is how we need to really love our husbands in the way that they receive love, and that is through respect. And I think a lot of times women misunderstand that respect piece, and we disregard their feelings because we think, oh, they're men, they don't feel anything. And so that's really something important that she brought out. She also talks about how men are insecure, which is why the respect thing is so important, especially from the one that's closest to their heart. And again, I think a lot of times wives and girlfriends don't recognize the power that we have over our husband's ego, their heart, their feelings, because maybe we don't recognize, they don't, show emotion in the way that we do. And so we have to really be mindful of the fact that they may be insecure and really need our support and encouragement and to really be their cheerleader. She also says that men are providers, and it's not just that they want to provide or that they need to make more money than their spouse, but rather that it is a deep need that connects to their identity as a man. And so regardless of the particular circumstances within your marriage, if you recognize how deeply important it is for the man to feel as though he is the provider in some way or another, then we may be careful about how we minimize that need in him and not disregard how important it is to him to provide. We often talk about how men want more sex or want sex more often, and we may not recognize that it's not just physical for him, it's also emotional. That was a light bulb for me, I know, and I've had conversations with women and wives who just assume their husbands are animals and they just want to do it all the time. It's not just physical. That is what she found in her research. And we have three other points that we have not really talked a lot about. So today, maybe we'll get a chance to. Another one is that men are visual. And I actually spoke to my husband about this last night. So I was like, is this really true? And he said, well, I'm not as visual as that, but he recognizes that it is a thing with men to be very visual. And what she brings out is that it's not by choice. So here's the quote. She says, most men have a mental Rolodex of stored female images that can intrude upon their thoughts without warning. And so we may need to think about this idea of men being visual differently if it's something that for many of them is not voluntary, it's involuntary, and they're having to, those who are trying to be good Christian husbands may be struggling with those images that come to their mind. And maybe women are contributing sometimes by the way that they dress around men and so forth. And then the other ideas that we have about men is that they're unromantic, which she says is untrue, that they just may have a different definition of what is romantic, and they fear rejection if they get it wrong. So it kind of goes back to that insecurity and that need to protect their ego, that is also wrapped up in their ability to do what we would consider to be romantic. And then finally, and this was the last chapter in her book, where she talks about the fact that men care about our appearance. And that is a really sticky, uncomfortable subject most men will not admit to, but they actually do care how their wives look. And of course, they can get into trouble by saying that, because the common question is, honey, do I look fat in these jeans, right? And they will never say yes. But what she brings out about men's desire for their wives to maintain their appearance is that it's not so much about their weight. It's not so much about the body parts and the size that they have of particular parts, but rather the effort that their wife makes to keep her appearance up for him. And so really, really good book, like I've said before. And these are really great points that I think are worthy of conversation and discussion with the men in your life, to see where he stands on some of these points. And then as much as possible, of course, the idea is for us to understand so that we can maintain our relationships. So ladies, about that last point, those of you who are watching, do you think your appearance should matter to your husband? Because the wives that I've had conversations with kind of bristle at this one. They're like, oh, it shouldn't matter. He married me for me. It doesn't matter if I wear, frumpy clothes or don't do my hair every day. It shouldn't. So what do you think? How important should it be for you as a wife to maintain your appearances for your husband? Or does that sound offensive that it matters to him? I don't know. Okay. Before we get into our conversation for today, and while you all think about your answer to that question, just want to remind you about the Hey Girl High Five. If you or someone you know owns a small Black-owned business or minority-owned business, definitely let us know. We'd love to add them to our Hey Girl High Five. Lisa, you said it should matter. It should matter. Okay, cool. Make sure you're supporting those small Black-owned businesses on our Hey Girl High Five list. It's Christmas time and they definitely need our support. You can find the list of the companies that we have on our Facebook page under the Photos tab. And we are definitely wanting to make sure that we support them as much as possible. And then we, of course, would love for you to support the Hey Girl store and pick up a cute mug or fanny pack. We have the lovely new products that, with the new designs on them, that my niece created, and would love to support her by purchasing some of her items as well. Hey, we got a week until Christmas. You may be able to still order and get some things in. If not by Christmas, certainly not long after. You can just let your loved ones know that it's coming. It's coming. So definitely check out the Hey Girl store. And we would also love for you to subscribe to the Just Kim newsletter. I've been sending out free downloads and motivational content for you to enjoy. Of course, if you have not yet gotten your December calendar for your desktop, make sure you sign up so that you can get that. I think it's super cute. And of course, it goes right along with our theme about love this month, coming with that quote coming from 1 Corinthians 13. So just click the link there in Facebook and you will be directed directly to the newsletter. All right, enough of that. I am so excited to introduce you to my guests for today. They are, hey, Ruth Butler, I see you out there. Thanks for joining us. So these two people I have known for a very, very long time. I call April my little sister because when I was in high school, people would either ask me if my name was April or they would assume I was April's sister, Kim. She has a sister named Kim. Go figure. And I met John through April here at Oakwood when his father was the pastor, and April and I worked part-time at the church. I especially remember those early days when they were contemplating marriage before graduation. That was a huge controversy. But they have defied the odds. They married young and have grown up together. Now they're counseling other married couples. Go figure. Like, are you serious? Has it been this long? These two skinny kids I knew back in the day are now the highly sought after dynamic duo known as Just John and April. They have a radio show, YouTube podcast, corporate sponsors, and a faithful following. They've been married for 21 years. I can't believe I'm that old that's even possible. And they have two teenagers now, John, and Julia. I'm super proud of these two. And I would love for you to welcome with me my little brother and sister, John and April Nixon.
Thanks, Kim.
Hey.
Thanks for reminding us that we're not skinny anymore.
Right.
No, y'all
Hey,
are still
girl.
skinny. Hey, girl.
Listen, I need a Hey Girl shirt, mug, hat, fanny pack. I need to get on it.
Right.
I am
You need
behind.
to seriously. And what I love about it, honestly, I know I'm a little biased, but the material is super soft. So I definitely recommend getting
I
yourself.
shall be doing that.
Yes, absolutely. And Aaron drew the artwork on the shirts.
Really?
That's
woman's
Aaron?
face.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness. That's so nice.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
it.
she did that. So super
That's
cool.
Yes.
Man.
We will be getting that.
She did.
I'm not,
That
I
was
can't wear
one of-
Hey
that
Girl
was-
stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, real men wear
Exactly.
pink. Real men can wear.
Okay, all right, okay.
That's
You
right.
know, you can rock it. No, but you guys you were two skinny kids and now you're two skinny adults. So just to clarify.
Thanks,
It wasn't
Kim.
like But honestly, I was thinking last night, I was like, I have known these two literally for a lifetime.
Yes.
It's been forever.
Yes.
Like if
Do
we
you
start
remember
doing the math.
Yeah,
Say
do you
again?
remember what you said to me when we came to you in Everett about asking about whether we should get married? Do you remember what you said to me?
Well, first of all, you had to have said this to her without me.
Yes, it was me and you by ourselves at work.
Right.
When I had my little job at the church.
I
to your office. You took me and you sat me down.
And what did I say?
Do you remember what you said? You said if you have any doubt, even while you're walking down the aisle, turn around and go back. And I was like, whoa, that was so huge to me because that's when it was like, I never forget that, Kim. I tell people that till this day.
She gives that same advice.
I give that same advice because it made me feel like, you know what? It's that important. It's that deep. Who cares about all these people here? If there's any doubt, if there's anything that's making me feel like, I don't know if I should do this, she's right. And so I was able to go down confidently because I was able to think about that. So now I tell people that. So thank you.
Wow. That's awesome. I pat myself on the back for that advice.
Yes.
I did not remember that, but I absolutely do believe that, like it is a huge commitment not to be taken lightly. And, that short-term embarrassment, if the wedding doesn't happen, is nothing in comparison to a lifetime of heartache and misery.
True.
Yeah.
So true.
Awesome. Wow. Well, I'm so proud. I honestly, and I was curious to know, what did I tell you? Because I don't remember ever having a doubt that you guys would make it. I wasn't sure, there's that little, oh, should you get married that young? But I got married young, so who am I to say?
Right.
But I always felt confident in you all's relationship that it was going to be okay. So thank you for proving me right.
You watched it firsthand, though.
Yeah, you saw
I
it up
did.
close and personal.
You did.
I did. It's been awesome. I love you guys so much. I really do. We don't talk nearly enough. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that y'all came on the show today so that we could talk a little bit.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yes.
Absolutely. So of course I know all about you, but for those who may be watching that don't know, why don't you just start? Okay, let's first start with what's most important. You all just celebrated your 21st anniversary, so you just got grown.
We did
yesterday.
So happy
So now you know how old
anniversary.
April is.
Thank you.
What'd you say, John?
Now they know how old April is. Well, I guess we didn't say she got married at 21 though. So
wow.
Sorry.
Listen,
Well,
I have no shame. No shame.
Girl, you look good. So yeah, so you celebrate your 21st anniversary. Now tell us what you do for a living, for those who don't know.
Well, I'm a middle school teacher.
I'm a pastor, and we like it.
Yes. Usually when I say I'm a middle school teacher, people apologize, but I do love middle
or they send their condolences.
Yes.
Yeah. That is, my hat's off to middle school, but even middle school and younger. Like, I just feel like that's a lot. That's a lot to take on. So hats off to those.
April has done the other before. So she was actually elementary school before middle school. And
I've taught 3rd through 8th.
Right. My personal opinion is there's nothing like middle school because middle school kids are going through a transformation that they don't understand.
They don't understand.
And so for teachers to have to deal with the regular stuff that you deal with parents and with kids, and then to have kids that don't know what's going on with them. And then you have these hormones that are making them, I don't know if you know this, Kim, but I read this the other day. When kids first hit puberty, their nasal passages don't develop as fast, so they don't know that they smell. So everybody else can smell that they stink, but they don't even know. So you walk into April's class, the 6th graders, they'll be like, "What is that?" None of them are wearing deodorant yet. You know what I'm saying?
I have compassion. I say, "Oh, sweetheart, let's have a conversation."
Right. So there's a special place in heaven for the middle school teachers, in my opinion.
There is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think they are saints, all of them, because I remember, and I won't call any names. I remember some young people getting in my car, and I thought, "Oh, wait a minute."
They don't know.
They don't know yet.
But
they don't know yet.
Thank you for that, because I was wondering, how could they not smell that?
And so the thing is, they can smell other things that smell bad, but for some reason, I don't know why. I don't know. This study that I saw, they can't smell themselves, so they don't know that they stink. Anyway, I know that's not what the show's about.
No, it's not what the show.
My point is, she has to go through that too. That's my point.
We'll have to have a separate show about school teachers and prepubescent children. So tell us how Just John and April got started and why.
So in our church in Decatur, Georgia, when we were in Decatur, Georgia, we had a lot of young people. And they would come to us all the time asking for counseling, and even the single young people. We would have, single young people at our house just asking us questions about dating and marriage and all that kind of stuff. And one day, a couple of them came up to us right after church, and they were like,
"It was a coordinated attack. It was like 3 couples together.
And they were like, we have to talk to you."
Yes, we had counseled all these couples, and they like converged on us like jackals, and they were like, we have a proposal for you guys. We're like, what? They're like, you guys need to start a YouTube channel. We were like,
they were like, you have to start. We will help you.
What?
We were like, no way, we cannot do that.
Doing that. What are we going to even talk about?
Right.
They were like, listen, if you were to share your marriage stuff on there, we would watch it. We would so watch it. We were like,
We were like, that's not us. That's not our personalities. We don't think,
Because what we knew about YouTube, we just didn't. I don't know what it was. I think before you do something like this, you just don't have a concept for what you're capable of doing. And if somebody told us we would be doing vlogs.
No, if somebody told me we were going to be doing lives, Kim, you already know how deathly afraid I was to do lives. So, and we're live right now. Like, I was just like, okay, like it's nothing.
Right.
But then we were like, no, that's not us. So we did not, we didn't move on it. They kept encouraging us, but we also had a couple friends who are serious YouTubers. And they really, and if you haven't seen the Onyx family, they're amazing. Yeah. But Onyx family, they were like, guys, you have to do this. You have to do this. And so they're basically our YouTube senseis. They really help to guide us through. And so it was like, that was it. Once we started, our first episode was so cringy when we go back and look at it, but all YouTubers, they say just start. Right. You can't wait, because I'm a perfectionist. I want it done right. And they're like, you can't be a perfectionist when it comes to this stuff, because it's not going to be perfect. So
they say perfect is the enemy of done. So you'll never get it done. You try to get it perfect. So we just said, let's just jump out there and do it. We did. And now we're really happy about it, because it prepared us for a time. You're doing the same thing, Kim. It prepared us for a time during the pandemic where people weren't able to leave. I think what we provided was pivotal, especially to couples that were struggling during the pandemic, to figure out, what am I supposed to do when I can't leave my house? Normally, we have this buffer of time, at least 8 hours a day, where we get to leave each other. And that creates a space for us to be able to get some time away from each other, which makes the time together sweeter. But when we're always together, we were kind of like at each other's throats and stuff. And, and I'm not talking about us. I mean, just us collectively. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I felt like, John and April, it was an opportunity for people to tune in live on a Wednesday night and be able to just laugh and then talk. And a lot of couples will tell us, we're so glad we had conversations about stuff that we've been wanting to talk about for years, but because you guys happen to be talking about that tonight on your show, it allowed us to talk about something we'd never been able to talk about. So it just provided a sense of, I don't know, fulfillment that, I don't know, man, it just felt weird in a good way. Like, this is great. We love this. And we're so glad those couples made us do it.
Yes.
That's so good that they had that foresight, because they were benefiting from your advice and counseling, and they thought, why should it only be for us when there's so many others out there who need this? So that was good on their part, that they pushed you, and that you guys answered, because it is a great show.
They probably suggested it in like 16 or 17 maybe, and we didn't actually do it till 19. So we feel like we lost a lot of time. I think we did it in the time that we were supposed to do it, but we do sometimes think, man, what if we started when they
earlier,
said, we'd have been so much better now and stuff like that. But anyway, it is what it is.
Right. I feel that. And the pandemic for us was what propelled us to try this. And you're right. I'm very much a perfectionist, and I wanted it to be perfect. But what I don't have that you guys have is that technical savvy. Like, I know John is the techie nerd kind of thing. He's a pastor in his day job, but the other side to him is all the techie stuff. And that was not my thing at all. So it was literally just kind of jumping out there and trying something and seeing what happened.
Without you're doing a great job with it too.
Kim.
You're doing awesome. We're very proud of you.
Oh, well, I can't take any credit for that. We have Amanda Pitt behind the scenes, as you know, who came to me. I think she saw that I needed help.
Wow.
That's a blessing.
That is a blessing.
That is a blessing.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. So, I went through those key points from Shanti Feldhahn's book. Are you all familiar with Shanti Feldhahn's book?
Honey, yes. Listen.
We actually recommend this to people all the time. We've both read it. We've used it for years.
Times.
Listen, can I just say for a second, Kim? It may be answering a different question, I don't know, but there was a point where April and I had a real struggle in our marriage. It was around, I guess, year 5 when John was born, and then again year 7 with Julia. And there were areas of misunderstanding that we had with each other. We just, like you said a second ago, April and I grew up together. I mean, I've known her since I was 13. Okay. Our families run deep. She's best friends with my cousin Angela. I mean, we go way back. So you think you know somebody and you know everything about them. And then you hit these points that you don't understand, because you're like, she's not acting like she normally would act. What is this? Where is this coming from? And it was literally those books for men only, for women only, that like
brought to light some things like, whoa,
my goodness, it was so amazing. And when I read For Men Only, it opened up so many things about a wife's psyche and what's going on in her head and all those other kind of things that made so many things make sense. And it was like April was exhibiting these things. I was like, where is my, April is like a tomboy. So she's like my homie. I mean, we watch, football together.
Right.
So I'm like, where's my homie? Why is she acting like such a girl? You know what I'm saying?
I'm like, because I am.
Right.
Like,
when I read that book, it was like, oh my goodness, everything makes sense now. I get it. Yeah. And it just, so anyway, let me say one more funny thing. For whatever reason, there was a couple at our church that was having issues in their relationship, and somebody had told me about the books. So I recommended them without having read it myself. This guy, I still remember his name right now. I don't want to call it, but he called me afterward. He had devoured the book in a day because, by the way, For Men Only is written like, it's written for men, but it's written in a way that it's easy for men to consume the information. They have like this chart thing in the back of it. So if you don't want to actually read the book, you just get all the information through the chart. Anyway, this guy consumed the book in a day. And he calls me back. He said, Pastor Nixon, that book was amazing. Thank you for recommending it. And then he asked me if I had read it. And I was like, actually, no. And it was around the same time that April and I were having our first real marriage challenge. So I read it. And it was amazing. April did the same thing. It changed a whole trajectory.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I read For Women Only and was like, oh my goodness, all the secrets have been unlocked. And then I found out that there was a For Men Only, and I gave it to my husband immediately. I was like, read this now.
Read it today.
Today. Because I read For Men Only too, and I was like, yep. I think I even highlighted certain things.
Same here.
Why do you guys do that? So I wasn't tempted to read April's book. Why are you reading my book?
Well, you need to read your book so you can know why you act the way you do.
I do need to read my book.
You do. But you have to read your book so you can understand yourself, because sometimes we don't even understand ourselves. When I read that book, I was like, oh, that's why I'm
You're
feeling
saying you
this
read
way.
For Men Only.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, sometimes we don't even understand why we are acting and responding the way that we do.
Right. Yeah. And I like I did last night, I read portions of For Women Only, and I was like, babe, is that true? Is that true for you? And he's like, he kind of had to think about it at moments, because you're right. It makes you self-reflective. And he's like, I feel that, certain things more so than others, but yeah, absolutely. And so, and I say, even people who are not married can benefit from these books, because then you'll know
definitely
when you do get married, how they think,
while you're dating.
Yep. Just being able to navigate the opposite sex and understand certain things will make a big difference, especially if you spend a long time single. There are probably some stereotypes about the opposite sex that you have that are untrue, that may even be a barrier to your ability to move forward in your relationship. And so a book like that can really open things up for you. So I would recommend it to a single person or a married person any day.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I agree. I saw Lisa James had a comment. If we could get that back up. I think she was saying, I used to give the books out as wedding gifts. Oh yeah, they would be great.
Good wedding gift.
For sure. So which of the key points would you say, John, or John and April, I guess, which of those key points particularly resonated? There were 7 of them, about respect, about men being visual, about men caring about their wives' appearance. Which of them would you say resonated the most?
I think, well, if you're asking a man, he's probably always going to say the respect thing. I think we men always want to talk about that. And there are aspects of the respect conversation that April and I have sort of uncovered as being deeper than they really seem to be initially. Respect for a man is a little bit more complex. I think Shanti Feldon said it best when she said it's like how you want your man to love you. But it's kind of complex in this way. It's more than just like not yelling at me or not talking down to me in front of people. Like that's what people think of when they think of respect. I think the other things are really, I want to be admired by my wife. I want to be,
I want to matter.
I want to matter to her. I want her to think I'm cool.
You want me to believe in you.
I wanted to believe in me. You know what I'm saying? That's all that's respect.
Things, yeah.
All that is respect. And when she does those things and it's genuine, it gives me a confidence to be able to do anything, anywhere. So any sphere, if I'm going to preach at some big location and there are 5,000 people there, if April believes that I'm going to do a good job, I think I'm going to do a good job.
Wow.
You know, it's really weird, but it's like, it's really April's and all wives' superpower. You have the power to actually make your husband more powerful himself. And that's by finding something that you really respect about him and just admiring that, and in whatever way that you do. So I think that part of respect is the part that often goes unmentioned. I think the part of respect we think about is, don't disrespect me in front of people.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like remedial respect. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's very basic.
We want that next level respect, I think.
Yeah. So there was something I think that came out of this book, or maybe it came out of a conversation that was connected to this book, that made me think of, this is a very everyday kind of example of what I believe to be my husband's need for respect. And also, I think the insecurity piece too was new for me, to think of him as being in any way insecure. And you know, John, you're a very confident person. My husband is very confident. You come off as very sure of yourself. So I was like, men are insecure, really? But my husband used to still does go to the grocery store for me, and he would come home and put everything on the table and want me to applaud him for the things he got.
And you're even like, you want a cookie? Well, I mean, you know, you were grocery shopping.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, okay, good. You did it. You got the stuff on the list. But something in this book was talking about how that affirmation is really important. Even though it seems so basic, it's tell me I did a good job. Yes. Getting the groceries from the grocery store, even though you sent me pictures of all the items and told me which aisle to get them from. You know what I mean?
It's so true, Kim. The thing is, when you do that, though, I'm operating now in an area that I'm uncomfortable with. So you know, Everett's an engineer. If Everett's doing engineer stuff, he's going to be confident, like super confident all day, every day. Yeah. But even then, when he does something, even in the sphere in which he's confident, when he receives affirmation about that, I don't know what it is. It just does something for you, and I do think that's in the vein of respect. I do.
And here's where I would get it wrong, because the typical woman response, I think, is, okay, you know, like that ain't nothing.
Yes.
Like, right? And so I didn't realize that I was actually disrespecting him by blowing off that seemingly small thing. And so recognizing it for what it is for him, now I'm like, good, babe. Yeah, that's exactly what I needed. I appreciate that. Oh, and you got two. Awesome. Right. You know?
That's what I'm talking about.
And so now he goes to the grocery store for me all the time. You know?
Right.
So because he wants that again.
Exactly. He wants that
positive affirmation again. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, that was a huge lesson. But that whole thing of men being, you made a good point, John. It's being insecure, particularly when they're venturing into territory that is not their expertise. And I also made the mistake of just kind of assuming my husband is smart, he's educated, he succeeds pretty much at everything. And so I took that for granted. It was like, oh, you know, he can do anything. And I didn't think he needed my support or encouragement to know that he could do it. But he actually does, especially when it's something outside of his field of expertise. And so I think maybe as wives, we may recognize our husband's strength and just see that as something across the board, that, oh, he can do anything, and I don't need to say anything about that, because
it's funny you say that, because John has had moments where after he preaches, you know, there was one point where I didn't say anything. Like in the beginning, I used to say something every time, and then I got caught up in talking to people and I didn't say anything, whatever, you know. And after we got to the car, he's like, you didn't say anything. And I'm like, oh, did I need to? And he was like, well, no. I was like, you did great. Like, what do you mean? You heard everybody clapping and everybody at the door telling you how wonderful it was. But that didn't matter if I didn't think so.
Yep.
You know, and so
So
even
important.
in the areas where they are experts,
Right.
I think they
Yes.
still
Oh,
need us to say, you are great at what you do. I see that
yeah.
you work really hard, and you know, you're the bomb. Like, I mean, I tell him all the time,
Mhm.
I hope I can say this. I think I can. You know, I get turned on when I see him, you know, doing
Mhm.
his
I think
job.
this is a
And
kid show, man. You're not supposed to say that.
No, it's a grown-up show. It's
okay,
fine.
it's a
Okay,
grown-up
good. All
show.
right, okay.
Okay. You know, seriously, because he is like the man, and I'm seeing him do
Mhm.
his job and do it well. And so
Mhm.
I realize that telling him that is very important. So I make it a point
Yeah.
to let him know every time.
Can I add something to this, Kim, though?
Mhm.
So I don't just want like empty words, right? So what April is actually good at, she pays attention so that she can give me specific
Yes, I need
feedback
to give
about my
specific
sermon.
feedback.
So like,
Yeah.
so she'll say things about how a particular point went across, or
Uh,
I could tell people were really with you on this part, or you did something different than you
yeah.
normally do. You did this instead, and stuff like that. So it's not just
Mhm.
I don't want an ego boost. I'm not looking for you to
Yeah.
just poke me. I actually want actual feedback. So April will tell me
Yeah.
sometimes that sermon was really good, but I
Right.
thought you were going to go somewhere else with this illustration. It kind of felt like you didn't whatever. And I'll say, oh man,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. You know what I'm saying? So she's not
Mhm.
just blowing smoke. You know what I'm saying? She's
Yeah.
really giving me positive reinforcement, even when she has to
Mhm.
tell me something that wasn't the best, so that I'll do it better next time. So,
Yeah.
it's kind of
Right.
complex though. If she would have just hit me between the eyes with something, I'd be like, man, why are you telling me that now? I mean, you kick me while I'm down. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
so she's gotten
Yeah.
really good over the years at giving me what I need. She's like practiced it,
Mhm.
and for me, it feels
Mhm.
like the ultimate in respect.
Mm.
So yeah,
Mhm.
that's a perfect example, and that's an area, like you said, that I'm an expert. I've got more than 10,000 hours of preaching. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I do for a living. I mean, and I think
Yeah.
I'm good at it. I'm pretty confident. I'm almost never nervous when I preach, and yet
Mhm.
her reinforcement helps me to be less
Still matters.
insecure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get that. I get that, and I see that in my husband now more than I did at first. And I realized after reading this book too that so much of it is really about treating him the way I want to be treated. And I have
Mm.
taken that for granted because I never saw him as
Yeah.
needing that. I need it, and I
Wow.
expect it from him, but I
Mhm.
wasn't recognizing that he needs it too. And so those same words
Mhm.
of affirmation, those are the same words of encouragement, I want to impress him too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
if we
Yeah.
realize that he wants us to be impressed, then I think we just, it's the golden rule, right?
Yeah,
Do unto others.
Yeah.
that's it. That's
It
it.
kind of boils down to that, right?
It's in the
Yeah.
Bible.
Right.
But but I guess it's also recognizing what does he need to feel that, and taking the
Yes.
time to figure that out.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So for you guys, we talked about how you married young. What would you say are the expectations that each of you came to the marriage with, and how were they adjusted when reality hit?
I think we both went in because we were so young, assuming that things were going to be the way that they were as we grew up. In other words, we never thought through
Mhm.
like who would do what. I just
Mm,
assumed April would do all the stuff my mom did in my house, and April assumed
mm.
I would do all the stuff that her
And
dad
I
did in her house.
and I told him I am not making bread every day.
And I told her I'm not mopping. Her dad mopped.
Honey.
I was like, I'm not mopping. That's, you know what I'm
I
saying?
was
That's not
like,
happening.
"You're not getting fresh smelling bread when you
Wow.
come home from work. That's just not gonna
I
happen."
didn't. I didn't ask for that,
Right.
Kim.
He didn't ask for that, but like he said, it was just this thing
We
that
just
we
made
just thought
assumptions.
we just made assumptions that I was
Yeah.
gonna grow up in the house that I loved growing up in,
Hmm.
and he loved growing
Yeah.
up in his house. So it was like we brought in all of the things that we, had as children, and it's
Hmm.
like, why did we just assume it was gonna be that way?
Because we
Like
were
what,
because
Right.
we were kids.
and then I thought,
You know.
honestly, I thought it was gonna be us in the bed all day, eating out, chilling, and that is not what he had in mind. And so I was
Mhm.
very disappointed that first week when he was like, "Ooh, let's get up and get dressed and go to the store." And I'm like, We're not going to stay in bed all day and watch TV and eat out,
And I was like, no. Let's go. Let's do something.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a big thing initially. And I think, they talk about people having their head in the clouds and, all of that. That happened for like a week because, within the first week, we recognized, okay, we both have the wrong idea about what this is going to be.
Yeah, we never talked about that. And that's one thing we do for our couples. Every time we do premarital counseling, we always bring in that aspect of expectations because we did not share those expectations with each other.
Oh, yeah.
And we feel like if we had done that, we would have actually cut off a lot of early on arguments about those expectations and being disappointed because you thought one thing was going to happen and it didn't. And then, so.
Yeah.
But I think that set the stage for us though, because we had that rude awakening early on. I don't think I made the same mistakes for the years to come, just making assumptions. We didn't get good at articulating our assumptions till probably year 10.
Our expectations.
What did I say? Assumptions? Yeah, thank you. Our expectations. We didn't get good at articulating our expectations till about probably year 10. But I at least didn't jump to conclusions anymore within the first year after we did that in the first week. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay.
But I don't know. I guess the value of articulating your expectations was not really it was lost on us somehow.
Yeah, we were not taught anywhere that we needed to verbally express those expectations.
Right.
Like, I don't even think we knew we had expectations.
Right.
And that's what I was going to say. Did you even recognize
we didn't even know.
It was?
Right.
We were like discovering it along the way.
Yeah.
And so we had to figure that out.
What you said earlier, Kim, is exactly right. We basically grew up together.
We did.
Mean, like we got married so young, we became adults while
together.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So anyway.
So you were learning yourself as you were learning each other.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So, when you're, up until 2 and 3 in the morning playing video games and eating cookies for dinner, you are not an adult. You're not an adult.
We were adults. We were paying our own mortgage.
Yes, we were.
You know
we were adults in that aspect. But it's hard to, think about expectations when you're doing things like that. I'm saying that was not high on the priority list.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So, I think that's also a lesson that married couples need to recognize that about marriage. And that is that it's trial and error. It's learning by doing. And too often, I think married couples fail too soon before they learn those important lessons. That they can only really learn through the doing of marriage.
True.
So
you said it was year 10.
Year 10.
Say again?
I was going to say one of the things that helped us, I think, was we had a pretty strong friendship.
Yes.
So, like I said, April was like my homie. So, a really cute homie that could kiss well. but my homie either way. and because of that helped us in a lot of situations where I don't think I've ever contemplated giving up. That was never a thing. But I think it's because we had our friendship to fall back on. So even when we're upset with each other about something, we had this strong friendship to be able to remind ourselves how much we like each other.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to be mad at your friend for that long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I did say to John one time, I can't live like this. I did say that.
She did say that. Suggest me if this continues.
She just put that little warning out there.
Yeah,
we never talk about divorce or anything like that. But I just needed him to know that was that serious. Like, I can't live like this. So we need to fix this.
What year was that?
Right. Something's got to change.
Like 7.
That was like years. Okay.
Maybe 8.
Okay.
So I know that people often look at you guys and assume you have it all together. You've got this podcast. You have a beautiful family. You get along well, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is we're all human and, we all are dealing with things. So even as you've learned a lot of important lessons through your marriage and through the time together, what would you say is still an ongoing challenge for you guys as a couple that is something that you have to continually come back to and continually work on?
First of all, don't be sharing your inside information, Kim. All right, babe, go ahead.
I'm saying nothing.
Well, first of all, if you follow us and you watch our stuff, you will know that we are not perfect because we make it clear the things that we go through.
We got issues.
Okay, we all have issues. We all have things, like you said, that are continuing. One thing that we have dealt with from day one. I don't know why this is just our thing, and that is love languages. We have, John's highest love language is my lowest.
And her highest.
My highest is his lowest. So we are constantly battling that love language thing. And so it ends up coming back up, every year it's going to come back up. But, we have really worked through that. I think actually the pandemic, we actually had a breakthrough.
We did.
And it was with his love language. And I was able to see something that I didn't know. I didn't realize until the pandemic. And I guess.
And what is his love language?
This
John's
particular one's
acts
acts
of
of service. Yeah. And April's one that we're talking about is words of affirmation. So I'm really low with words of affirmation. She's low with acts of service. Now
John's so low with words. It's like 0. At least I have like a 3 with acts of service. He's like 0 love language, 0 words. But anyway.
Got you.
So we clashed there. And during the pandemic, when we were home, I was able to see what he really needed when it came to acts of service. And I think the busy life made me not really be able to tap into what he really needed. And so, man, we had a great conversation and we were able to really break through on some things. And I don't think it's gone back. I mean,
it has not.
We've still had some time, it still came up. It has still come up, but not like it used to.
It always comes up when we have a big change of season. And what I mean by that is April gets the summers off as a teacher, and there's always a certain way that she is from a physical availability perspective, and then when school starts back, it changes almost 180 degrees and goes the other way. So what ends up happening is I get this wonderful summer where we're
feast or famine, basically.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly right.
It's hard for me to be in the middle.
Yeah,
got you.
But
to be balanced there, it's hard for me.
But what I've done, one of the things that helped was I adjusted my expectations. April helped me to understand how difficult it would be for her to keep up what she does during the summer, also during the school year. It's just not possible.
I was like, you can just go get you a job at Apple and make some real money, and then I can just stay home.
Make 3 times as much money make it now, and it'll be fine.
And I can do all kind of acts of service, but
short of that.
Yeah. So I think those expectations, and that's why we really emphasize, speaking those things, because sometimes, and John said it, you said it, so I'm gonna say this because you said it.
When did I say it? Today?
You said this multiple times, but I'm saying it for you this time.
Have I said it on the show?
Yes.
Well, then you can say it. Who cares?
When he verbalized his expectations, Kim, he realized they were unrealistic.
That's what verbalizing it does.
That's what it does. When he said it out loud, when you're in your head, it's like, you in your head, and you saying stuff to yourself that really this is your own, personal thing that you're dealing with in your head. But when you say it out loud.
Yes. Have you ever had a crazy dream? And then, and the dream makes sense to you. And then when you start telling it to Everett, he's like, what is this?
This is so crazy.
And as you're saying, you're like, oh my goodness. Wait a minute.
This really is dumb.
There was a deer that came out that had a helmet on. And I'm like, it makes so much sense in my head.
Yes.
Well, it's similar like this. Sometimes when you articulate your expectations, you start realizing that can't happen. Even as you're saying it, like, it's not possible. So that was important. And that's why we tell people all the time, do not keep it in your head. Let it out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Say it to your spouse.
It's very helpful.
It is.
It really helped us. It really did.
Yeah, that's good. They say marriage is, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's an issue that we have, but it continues to get better. But it does keep coming up, but it continues to get better as we talk about it, talk it through, and we're honest with each other with the feelings that we have, those deep feelings about it.
I think when people talk about marriage being work, that's exactly what they're talking about. It's you have to continually be intentional. You have to keep having the conversations. You have to find ways to articulate your feelings. It's easier to put it in neutral and just, kind of coast and, well, he knows me. I shouldn't have to say it. But that the work is keeping it in drive and saying it anyway. And, communicating it anyway, and talking about it again, because that was something I would fall into. It's like, we've had this conversation so many times, why do we have to have this conversation again? But it's like, that's the work of marriage. You got to keep having the conversation.
That's it.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, 2 quick questions, and then I want you guys to talk about what's coming up. One, are there tools or resources that have helped you to have those hard conversations? And then 2, I guess, coupled with that, how much of your work with Just John and April podcast has helped you to have those conversations?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So one of the tools that we use all the time is the one we just talked about, for men only, for women only. We also recommend the 5 love languages to people all the time as well. Yeah. That opens up and unlocks something for people most of the time. Another resource that we use, though, is actually something we developed. It's called Pass the Mic. Pass the mic is like pass the mic. It's like an active listening exercise where you take an object like a pencil or something like that, and this is the microphone, and as long as I have it, I'm the one that gets to talk. And then there's some stuff that you do.
Yeah, there are a lot of rules with it and stuff. It's actually on our YouTube channel. We actually have it on there.
Yeah.
But it's a great. We don't call for it often. Like, these are for big situations, but it's really helped us. And that's what happened during the pandemic. We called for a pass the mic, and we set a time, and we did that thing. We followed the rules, and it really helped to allow me to listen to what he was really going through when it came to his love language. So,
did you call that pass the mic, or did I?
I called it.
You called. That's what I thought. I remember that because I remember having to get ready for it. So when you ask for a pass the mic, you have to set a time that's later than now, so that you can prepare yourself
mentally,
because you have to listen differently, and so you have to make sure you're not going to be defensive and all this other kind of stuff. And I remember preparing for this pandemic pass the mic. I remember I asked for it, and I was like, okay, I don't know what you want to talk about. And I said, okay, let me get my head right. And I think that, I don't know how many hours later we did it, because it wasn't like the next day. It might have been like later that same day we did it at 3, and she asked for it at 10. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that really helps. Anyway, my point is,
that has been very helpful for us.
Extremely. It helps so much.
Yeah.
And I would say another thing we decided during the pandemic. Wow. A lot of stuff came about during that time. We decided that we were going to be totally honest. Like, we're honest with each other. We're very honest, but when we mean totally honest, like not holding anything back,
we mean like
vulnerable
and
what is it?
Transparent. And there's one more. It's honesty, vulnerability, and transparency. Those 3 things.
Those are 3 things?
Yes.
Yeah. We were watching Love Hour. I don't know if you watched that with Miss Kev on stage. And she talked about it was just really, really good. And we decided, you know what? We really haven't been totally honest when you're talking about total honesty, where you're transparent, you're vulnerable. You're going to say something that, could bring about something else that you don't want to deal with.
Well, the biggest thing for me is saying something that's going to make me, if she responds the wrong way, I'm going to get rejected.
Yeah.
So I would rather not say it, because I don't want to feel the hurt that I might feel if she doesn't respond the right way.
Right.
Yeah. And so it makes me dishonest about my feelings, because I don't want to be vulnerable.
So let me just give you this quick example. This is the example she gave. The example was, you go out of town a lot, right? Let's say John goes out of town a lot for work, and he's about to go on another trip. And instead of me saying, I would normally say, you leaving again? Here you are leaving again, leaving me here alone. Wow, you are such a jerk. Whatever.
And she said, that's not honest.
She said, that's not really honest. The honest thing to say would be, I really miss you. I really want to spend more time with you, because we've been away from each other a lot. And I, I don't know. I
wish you wouldn't go away this time.
Yeah, I wish you wouldn't go away this time, because I really want to spend time with you. That's really what she wanted to say.
If she says that, and I say, man, please, girl, and I get on the plane anyway,
she's hurt.
Now she's going to be hurt.
So it's better to, you're basically protecting yourself by coming with an attitude and be like, why you always got to be gone? That protects you. And so we realize we do that
all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, we can't do that anymore. And when we change that, man, I mean, the communication, resolve conflict, it's amazing. And what we decided was, when we decide to be totally honest, where we're actually vulnerable and transparent, we are going to reward each other with a positive response. So I'm going to reward you by not, what was the word? Rejecting you, but by really listening and responding positively to what you said, because you were able to be honest with me. So,
well, what it is that you're saying, it makes sense, because what you're saying is, this is how I feel, right?
Yeah.
No, the other person can't argue with how you feel. I feel this way when you leave, right? So rather than attacking the other person because that's how you feel, you explain how you feel.
Yeah.
And it's a much more productive conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's really helped us a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Real quick, we're really out of time, but it's my show. So
it is your show.
Real quick, I want to ask this. What happens though when you don't agree? Like when you can't come to an agreement about something, I know my husband and I, we have particular things that we just don't agree on. So what do you do with that when you reach those points where you pass the mic and all that, everybody said how they felt, and you still are on two sides of an issue? What do you do with that?
So there's two ways for us. The one way is sometimes agreeing is not the point. Sometimes being heard is the point.
Yes.
And so oftentimes when we go through these pass the mics, I just want April to understand where I'm coming from. And even if at the end she says, I really don't agree with that, at least if she understands where I came from, that's good. Now, there's sometimes it doesn't work. And in those situations, it depends on what category of thing we're talking about. So in our house, we have basically divided up the roles in the relationship. And we have decided that I am the head of some things and she's the head of other things. And depending on what category this falls in, the person who's the head of it could have the tiebreaker. So for instance, let's just say, we'll use a trivial example. Let's just say I'm the head of car choice. So if we decide we're going to get a new car, that's my department, whether it's actually April's car I'm replacing or mine. I have the veto power, and we may disagree on what it is that we need. But we've determined at some point that for some reason I should be the head of this, whether it's I'm better at it or I am maybe more knowledgeable at it. Maybe I care about it more, whatever it is. We come up with our reasons for that. And because I'm the head of that department, if this disagreement falls under that category, then I'm the one who gets to break the tie in the end, because honestly, we only have one vote each. And in our house, we don't do I'm the man of the house, we're going to do what I say. That we don't do that here. So the way we break the tie,
works for us.
It works for us every time. But there are some nebulous categories that don't fall into a thing where there's any kind of leader. It just becomes one of those things where, like with this acts of service and words of affirmation thing, this is a thing that we're both on opposite sides of. It's not that we don't think that it's important. It's that April thinks words of affirmation is more important than I do, just because of the way we're hardwired. And I think acts of service is more important than she thinks because of the way we're hardwired. So what we try to do is just get closer and closer to the other person's perspective on this as much as we can. And I don't think we'll ever get to the point where we see it the same way. I'm not sure I'll ever get to the point where my acts of service is as high as April's, but I can be trying every day to get closer to where she'd like me to be.
I think you said it right the first time when you said, and we've noticed this, and that is when I feel like he's listening to my feelings, sometimes that's enough. Just the fact that he says, you know what, I know you, so I really can understand where you're coming from. I know how that would feel, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's enough for me when it comes to certain things. So I think, if we sometimes we could just listen, and really try to put our feet in the other one's shoes. I think that would help with being more understanding,
I mean, marriage is complicated. It's not an exact science, so it's all trial and error, and it's I think leading with I read this in one of the books, I don't know if it was this one, but leading with the assumption that the other one loves me, right? Leading with the assumption that their goal is not to hurt me, disrespect me, and that can go a long way in having these kinds of conversations. Like, at the end of the day, we love each other, so let's try
Can I
to.
answer your other question real quick, Kim? I know you got to go.
Yeah.
The other question you asked was whether or not Just John and April podcast has helped us to have conversations.
Yes.
I want to say that our intimacy has never been better. And I'm talking about our total intimacy. That's what we talk about all the time, right?
Yes, total intimacy.
We're not just talking about the bedroom. Our total intimacy has grown exponentially since we started Just John and April.
Okay.
I think part of it is that April has actually been wanting to do this longer than I have. So when the people said, you guys should start this YouTube channel, I was like, heck no. And April was like, yeah, we probably can't do it, but it'd be nice if we could. And after a while, she really, really wanted to do it. And so when she turned 40 in 2019 is when I bought her a camera and I said, let's do this. So really it was a birthday present in response to what she wanted to do in the end, because I still wasn't convinced. And I think that gesture in and of itself made April feel seen and loved in a way that was different than what I had done before. And then after that, we just started having conversation after conversation on the show. You have no idea how many things we come up with a show idea, but we deliberately don't talk about it all the way because we want it to be organic on the show. And we will have discoveries about stuff while we are on the show. It's been happening since the beginning. It's crazy. So
and we've come to the show after having an argument.
That's true.
And after we're done with the show, usually it's John saying, I'm really sorry, babe.
It's sometimes April too.
Usually it's John saying, I'm really sorry, babe, for what happened earlier. And it's like, the show fixed it. I don't know. He was able to realize as we're telling other people, you gotta practice what you preach.
Yeah, there is this pressure to make sure. There's this pressure to make sure that you're actually doing the stuff that the people say.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are like now accountable to a whole audience that's out there watching. So I imagine, and it forces you to have the conversation that you may be able to push off otherwise, right? And the fact that you're doing the show together, it's like, okay, cameras, lights, camera, action, here we go.
Right, gotta get it together.
Yeah. It's a great show. I have really enjoyed watching you guys, and it's very real. It's very authentic. It's they come as themselves, right? It's good and it's funny. It's just fun to watch. And Ebony says that's like those pre-pandemic Sabbath morning car arguments on the way to church.
Exactly.
Those are the worst, man.
And then you get to church. Happy Sabbath.
Right.
Forget that. Imagine having to preach after having one of them things.
We've had that happen. We have early on. We don't have those anymore. We don't have those often anymore.
We know to make up.
And usually it was because I was late for church.
9 times out of 10.
I made him late. So that's a whole other topic.
We'll have you back to talk more about that. Being a pastor's wife. So real quick, you guys have a lot of stuff going on. So I want to give you a chance to share the 30-day intimacy challenge. And I know that next week you guys have something with Plant Burger. I heard you talk about that on your show.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, actually. Well, we just partnered up with Plant Burger. And that actually is going to happen in January. That had to be moved.
Yeah.
But we will actually have both. We'll have the founder and co-founder instead of just the co-founder. So that's good. But we do have a lady who will be on our show this week who she deals with teaching Black women how to be healthy through veganism. And so she's written 2 books and she has just a lot of information and she's doing great things for Black women. So we'll have her on our show this week. But we, because we are on Hey Girl, we have a promo code Hey Girl so that if you want to join the intimacy challenge, you can go to justjohnandapril.com/big sale and put promo code Hey Girl in and you get $50 off. And in it, we talk about the total intimacy. It's great. A lot of couples have talked about what they've gained from it and how they've grown so much with their partner. And actually, if you join today, tomorrow we have a coaching call with everyone. Tomorrow night at 8. So if you join today, you can get in that coaching call. So we're really excited about that. And next month, we're also starting
Call it a virtual weekend retreat.
Weekend retreats.
Basically.
So we're going to start weekend retreats.
Mm-hmm.
And so it starts in January, and every month we will have a weekend retreat. So we're excited about that too. So
yeah.
Oh,
so
awesome.
If you follow us on our socials, you'll find it. Just John and April on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, and you'll see whatever news on anything that's happening. So just follow us there.
Yeah. A lot of good stuff. You guys go out there and check them out. Sign up for the challenge. Just subscribe to all their stuff. You won't regret it. It's good. It's good. It's good. And make sure you share today's live. If you are not married, share it with someone who is. Post it on your page so they know how to get to their content. And I am thrilled that you all were able to spend this weekend with me. It's so perfect that it's the day after your anniversary and we're talking about marriage. So enjoy the rest of your anniversary weekend.
Thank you.
Oh, that's true. We can keep celebrating, can't we?
Yes.
You can keep celebrating. That's right.
Yeah.
And I wish you many, many more anniversaries, and looking forward to continuing to do life with you guys. I love you very much. And I'm, like I said, very proud of what you all are doing and what you've accomplished. So
love you too, Kim. So kiss the girls.
Yes.
Do not kiss Everett for me, but you can do
you
it
can
for
kiss Everett for me. Yes.
I'm going to give Everett a big kiss on the lips. I'm going to say that's from John.
No,
Yes,
do not
do that.
Dap him, please. That's it.
All right. Well, I'm going to say goodbye to you guys. And as you know, we always end with a scripture. So we're going to go to our scripture now, which comes from 1 John 4:7-8. You see what I did there? I had John on the show and I have the verse coming from John. It all worked out. Let us love one another, for love is from God, and whoever loves has been born of God and knows God. Anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love. And that's really what it comes down to. As we said before, this whole marriage thing, it's really about letting God's love flow through us to the other person, treating them as we would want to be treated. And that's the work of marriage. It's good work. And we're here to support that and promote that. I'm so glad that you joined us today. I hope that you benefited and enjoyed the show as well. Man, like I said, we're 1 week away from Christmas, and next Saturday we will have a special Christmas episode. This is us, just Ev and I, talking about our own marriage journey, and I hope that you will join us. Until next time, see you and take good care.
Hey girl, you don't want to miss Saturdays this month as we discover the secrets to a happy marriage. Meet the marriage menders, Derek and Sonia McCullum, the love experts, John and April Nixon, and settle in for a cozy Christmas conversation with Everett and Kim. It's the Hey Girl Marriage Edition, Saturdays at 5 on Facebook Live.